Vigil for Public Housing, and I'm joined by Kelly, and we have just been blessed by the people from the Awakening Conference. Hope it's going to go great from here on in. For those who have no idea about this action, Kelly, can you talk a bit about what it's about and why you're down here?
So, for those who don't know anything about it, public housing, which is housing that is owned by the public technically, but the government manages it. It's housing that's affordable. Your rents are capped at 25% of your income. You have security of tenure, unlike rent in the private market where you have one year leases, 6 month leases. You don't have that kind of thing in public housing. You can stay there indefinitely. So it's a really secure and affordable form of housing. So we've seen a lack of government investment in that over many, many, many years, to the point where there's now only 3% of housing stock in Victoria is public housing. And some people point to the explosion in homelessness in this state and in this city as a sign of this neglect of public housing. This underinvestment by the government. It's privatisation as well, because that's also what's going on. And currently, 2018, we're seeing 7 inner city public housing estates up for privatisation by the government. So that land will be sold to developers. Boutique, very high-end apartments will be built for private tenants, and only a slither will be allocated to public housing tenants. And then we're not even sure if it will be purely public housing that makes up that slither, or it'll be some form of community housing or social housing, or affordable housing, which is basically just another form of privatised housing. So Joseph Toscano from Public Interest for Corporate Interest has called this 10-day vigil to put pressure on the government to invest in public housing, basically, and stop its privatisation.
I know you know a bunch of people in public housing. Can you talk a bit about their experience in terms of how that has helped them?
Yeah, so I was involved in a pretty big protest a couple of years ago called Bendigo Street, and we occupied a number of properties in Collingwood and some other suburbs that were just lying idle. These were publicly owned properties. They were houses that were going to get demolished for the East West Link Freeway, which is now defunct. It's not happening. The houses were compulsorily acquired by the government. The tenants that have been living there for decades, their property, they sold their properties to the government. The freeway was going to get built, but there's a lot of pushback to that from the community, and the Labor Party ended up cancelling the project once they got into government. Now, they decided, after a few months in, they announced some of those properties that were compulsorily acquired, they give a portion of them to the Salvation Army to house homeless people. But 6 months later, after that announcement, we discovered that they still had not housed people in that housing, and so we decided to start occupying those houses to raise this issue. And the reason I tell you this story is because we were there for 8 months, and one of the people who came along to Bendigo Street and stayed there and found housing was someone that was experiencing homelessness at the time. And they had been living in a factory, an abandoned factory in the western suburbs, and were not in a very good place at all in their lives. So they came to the Bendigo Street protest. They found like-minded people who were advocating for something really important. We wanted those houses to become public housing, all those compulsorily acquired houses. To cut a long story short, that person is now in public housing as a consequence of that protest, and trying to rebuild their life and move on with their life. So it's a lifeline to them. That's why it's really important. And I've seen other people who've been homeless for many, many, many years get into public housing, and it's just provided that stability that they need to get on with their lives. So it's immensely important.
Great. And should we just talk a little bit about the action? We're on day 3 here, it's been going since Wednesday. Do you want to talk a bit about how it's gone and what's planned? I guess so it's going to be an occupation from the 14th to the 24th, so for the next week or so. Do you want to talk a bit about how it's gone and how people can help out?
How it's gone. Well, the people that we haven't had large numbers. The first day we had quite a lot of people here. We've also had a couple of live broadcasts on 3CR. That's been really fantastic. But the people that are here are really staunch, and there's a bit of a rotation of people, you know, coming past just quietly, sitting down, holding up the banner. As I said, really staunch people. But we need many, many more people to come down to really show to the government that, hey, you know, as a community we really care about public housing. We want you to stop privatising it, and we want you to just build more housing, invest in more housing. So yeah, there's people staying overnight. Good on them, they're brilliant. Some people just come for an hour, some people will come for a night or an afternoon. People have come along and brought food and drinks, and so there's a really good, nice atmosphere here, but it's just the numbers. We need more people down here, and especially because the cops are also lurking around the edges, and we don't know if they're going to bust us down at any moment, because I think technically, because it's an ongoing process, it's illegal, technically. So, if whoever's listening to this at whatever stage, if the protest is still going, keep your bodies and your bums down here, because we really need you.
Yeah, it was funny being on the first day, and they were like, what time does this finish? And we were like, in about 10 days. So we've got about 5 posts, I think, that need to be held.
My imagination, we've got an increasing cost.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
they're multiplied by 2.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, we need to really try and be holding those polls spread with these people afraid. Get some more people on the streets handing out leaflets, just get more people down here. So yeah, if y'all listening to this or watching this, if I manage to get the technology right, any time for the 24th, come down. Before we go, just wanted any final thoughts. Also, want to give a plug. Kelly does Rumination Show on 3CR and covers this a bit too. So yeah, any plugs? Anything you want to add?
A quick couple of things. We do a peer homeless issues program on 3CR 855 AM, and that goes to air every Thursday at noon. We'll have a special one next Thursday because we'll be doing a live broadcast from here if we're still here. Fingers crossed. In terms of what you asked, what people can do, if you can't come down here, or if you can, another thing on top of that you can do is if you live in the Albert Park electorate, Joseph Toscano is running as an independent. Put pressure on Mark Foley, the Minister for Housing, to invest in public housing. And I'm not encouraging anybody to vote or not to vote, but just have a look at the policies of the political parties. And I know off the top of my head that it's basically the Greens and the Socialists that have the best public housing policies out of the mix.
All right, thanks so much.
You're welcome.